Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Could you introduce yourself?
Of course. My name is Kaho Shibuya. I live in Tokyo. I was actually like born and raised here in Tokyo, and I do a lot of cosplays on my social media. Yeah, like obviously I'm into manga and anime, so this is my lifestyle. And thank you for inviting me here.
Yeah. Okay. You told me you published a book, and last week I was reading your book.
Thank you.
Yeah. Could you tell the listeners a bit about your book?
Sure. It's about like JB industry. JB is Japanese adult industry. Like I wrote my experience, like not just what I've seen, what I experienced, but also like what I heard and what I've seen from people working there. So it's it's like amalgamation of memoir and expose, but it's not all about it. It's more about truth, like everything behind the pixels, like literally.
So if everyone is interested in buying her book, I will put a link to her book in the description. Yeah, please check here. Today, because it's like really interested, how did you learn English?
Right. When I started, it was like around high school. So I started pretty late. Of course, like I had classes at school, but it's like I was almost failing all the time. I got very interested when WWE, back then it was maybe still like a WWF, World Wrestling Federation, or now it's World Wrestling Entertainment from United States. So yeah, I got really into that wrestling channel. At that time, I could watch it on Fox. And after that, like, it became more famous. And it was like somewhere around The Rock left to become a famous movie star. Now he is. And yeah, it was around that time. And I got interested and I wanted to learn English. I wanted to speak English. I wanted to be able to speak English so I could interact with people like that, superstars.
Did you went to the US and actually
Oh, no, actually, but I've been to the show, one of the shows when they came to Japan. It was the second time.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I missed the first time. They had Rock. So second time, the finale was about Triple H.
And you started to become like really serious about learning English because wrestling. But you took some exams.
Right.
First, I want to ask you, why did you want to take exam?
Right, because it's not like I, moved to US. Like it's not like I studied in US. If you have experience of studying English in US, like if you have an experience of living there, I guess like you can just talk about it and people are convinced like, oh, you can speak English. But unless like you're born with maybe English speaker parents or something, it's kind of hard to prove that you can speak English or you can use English. So I just needed to take those exams as a proof that, I am good at this. That's why I try to take the highest score on TOEIC, which I did eventually. I took the first grade of ACAN. Yeah.
It's quite interesting because I have seen both exams. And they're like quite different. So you have to study for like them first separately.
They're like different channels. Like you have to use different channels.
Yeah. How long does it took you, and how did you prepare for these exams? Did you use like old textbooks or?
Right. For me, taking ACAN was easier. I think I took it like a few years before I took the highest score on TOEIC. Because TOEIC is more for business English. And I was still a student when I took ACAN. So ACAN is definitely for students, like maybe for high schoolers. So the content is more for students, like what you want to do when you become, when you grow older, or what you want to study at college. All those questions were intended for students. So, but TOEIC was more about business emails. Like you have to read business email, you have to read ads. So it's like you're working at an office. Even the English conversations for listening tests, all those conversations were between workers, office workers, or sometimes there was some scholastic subject, but not at school, but more like at the museum. So definitely for mature people, the conversation was much more mature. So, and also ACAN, you don't really have to nail for the highest score. It's about like passing or not passing. So
yeah.
TOEIC is more about like, have you got like more than 900 points or like 950? That's why I wanted to take the highest. So a lot of people don't know the highest score of TOEIC is 990. I understand, like it's like, why isn't it 1,000, right? Yeah. So it was just easy for me to say like, oh, it's the highest score, so people understand.
I feel like Japanese companies really appreciate exams,
right?
But on the other hand, if you talk to foreign companies,
right,
usually they put in like an interview in English to prove that you can speak.
Yeah.
But Japanese, like they want to see on paper that you have like the score first. And then if the score is high enough, then maybe there will be an interview, but it's still in Japanese. So
like, the system is so different. And I don't think like any non-Japanese people care about ACAN, or like, I mean, ACAN itself, like Japanese, the term ACAN is Japanese. And TOEIC, I never heard anyone outside of Japan.
Yeah, but just in order to enter university, because I was Japanese university, it was cheaper to take TOEIC than TOEFL.
Yeah, TOEIC is so expensive.
It's like really difficult to keep being motivated and studying language, and like to keep like going, especially if I feel like the beginner, if you start to be able to speak, okay, but like once you reach intermediate, it's like really difficult to like keep like being motivated,
right
to, like aim at getting better at like English.
I think like taking a test was definitely a right decision I took, because I think I made a right decision about taking the exams, all those different exams, because like you need to be better, not just speaking, but because like all those ACAN and TOEIC especially, they don't have, well, ACAN has a speaking test, but only the second half of the exams. They have to pass the first exam, and which is all about listening and writing and reading. Oh, sorry, not right. Oh yeah, there was a writing part thing. Yeah, so you need to focus on the grammar and syntax, and that requires some time to be good at.
Yeah, so it's nice to have like a motivation.
Yeah,
like using tests as motivation. To keep,
grammar and syntax. When you're good at speaking, or when you can like have a casual conversation with your non-Japanese friends, and you feel like, let's forget about grammar and syntax because they're boring. And like people just focus on learning like English slangs, just to be so that they can have a casual conversation. Then they oftentimes forget about grammar, like learning grammar, because it's not very necessary when it comes to speaking. And especially if you're just speaking to your friends, like not your coworkers or not your business managers, not to your superiors. If it's just between you and your friend, like any type of informal speech is fine. I've noticed like some younger generations, like they forget about the importance of grammar. Yeah, it becomes more like a broken English sometimes.
But also, like as you said, like talking to managers or in business, there's also kind of like a polite way to speak. Well, so and it's important to learn both grammar, but also like to separate language, because it's like in Japanese it's very easy because different like language.
Yes.
But in English it's like more about like the way you talk, and just like a little, it's difficult. It's a little different when you talk in business. But as you said,
I've noticed that in college too. Like some friends focus so much on casual speech, like "Hey, what's up?" or like I've noticed like they use a lot of F words or like all those like curses, but because they saw that was cool, that what you hear on music and like movies.
And it's interesting because like some people, especially in the States, many people are very Christian, and so they don't actually use this kind of language.
Right.
So it's important to study both grammar as well as what is your biggest struggle in learning English? Is it reading, writing, speaking, or listening?
Definitely speaking. I notice my mistakes even when I'm speaking, like right now. Like, and I always wonder, like, should I correct myself like right now? But like, should I focus on the topic instead? There is always a struggle. Speaking is fun part, definitely a fun part, but you cannot have a do-over. When you have a mistake, like you have a mistake, people hear it. So when it's writing, I love writing and it takes more time. But like you can use an eraser and you can just do a do-over. So.
And also like same as with speaking, if you have like really close friends and you ask them, could you please repeat or like say what I did wrong, then maybe it will tell you. But if they're polite, sometimes you just do it yourself and then like
sometimes we just want to focus on the conversation, like not about your mistakes. So I totally get it.
Since you live in Tokyo, how did you find foreign friends in Tokyo? Because many Japanese, they want to learn English in order to find friends, and in order to actually, like, since they learn it, they want to speak English. So,
right now, because of COVID, like, I rarely go out and meet anybody except for work. I actually started streaming on Twitch on about my life, like mainly just chatting, or sometimes I play games, but I interact with a lot of non-Japanese fans of mine. So that definitely helps. I can listen to myself so clearly. I can check my videos and like, like my voice is tiny. Like I should move my mouth more because when you're speaking Japanese, like you don't really have to move your mouth that much. But when you're speaking English, like your mouth, facial movements have to be bigger. So you can definitely watch yourself learn from those past broadcasts or those videos.
Like video helps because like after you record it, you can watch it again. And I do most of my videos in Japanese, so like sometimes it's interesting, like if I watch a video 1 year before, you see the mistake, as you said. Next, I want to ask you, what is the difference when speaking with foreigners in terms of like cultural aspects?
All right. I think in Japan, we care more about reading the atmosphere, like trying to agree more than being individualistic. One of the reasons because it's a homogeneous society. And like, we definitely understand each other when we cannot say no or we cannot state our own opinions. But especially in the West, you have to be able to say what's on your mind. You have to do whatever you want. They actually recommend you being honest with what you want or what you need or what you don't want to. So not just in society, but also like in a classroom. I felt that even in some English classes in Japan, not just high school, even in college, we just focus on just sitting at the classroom. We sometimes forget about raising our hands, or like in the West, like you don't really have to raise your hand. Like you just keep talking, even though you're just a student. Here in Japan, like you're being polite or you're being shy. It's just, you know, even when teachers want your participation, but you just cannot, you're still afraid to say your opinion. And I was afraid too, not because I didn't know how to answer to some questions, even though I had some answered and I wanted to say something. I was so afraid that other student would see me like Miss Goody Goody, or like she's just trying to get some high score in classroom. Like I didn't want to stand out in a bad way. Although like I was being a good student by saying my opinion, but I knew that would look uncool to my peers. So I felt kind of peer pressured in a classroom when it comes to raising your hand or saying your opinion, because everyone else was so silent. Even in some group activities, we had an English class and we are supposed to talk about a book that we read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I wasn't a leader, but I kind of had to become a leader because no one was saying anything.
Okay.
So, but no one's saying anything. Like, but at first, like some of them didn't read the book, but even so, like you could still talk about something. Like what I was just trying to get something out of them. Like, so what do you think about the title, or like, what's your image about this book? Like, all those like big questions, even, but they didn't say anything, like at all. Not even a word. So I ended up like writing the reports just by myself because I couldn't get anything out of them. So yeah, that was a tough time.
So I guess like in order to become friends with Japanese, it just takes more time. Because,
some of them just not, I don't know, maybe mentally prepared to be there. I absolutely didn't understand what just happened there, but some were so silent and so shy, maybe in a classroom, but they're not shy outside of classroom. Only in the classroom. So I didn't get it. And it was like an English class, and it wasn't like high school. It was a college. So like you wanted to be here, right? Like you took a test to be in this university. So like I thought like you need to be more proactive. But still, even in college, even in an English class, even though they're not shy at all outside of classroom, they're still shy in a classroom. So I kind of wanted to give up on my friends, at that point.
But in Tokyo, there are like many opportunities to meet foreigners.
Right.
Like, of course, right now, because of Corona, it's like difficult. And as you said, like right now, actually, if you want to learn English, you don't actually have to meet people. So like online.
Yeah.
Like you're active on Twitch as well as Twitter. Yeah, so like online is a great way to meet people.
Personally, I don't really like hanging out. Like I don't really like going out. I don't even drink alcohol. So I hate all the socializations in Japan or nomika,
Yeah.
Like, we always like, even business people, they try to have a drink, instead of a meeting. So I hate like I hate just going out to just have fun, because I have fun at home, with my passions. Like I watch anime, and like I don't want to invite anybody to my room, because like I lack my solitude. So for me, just going online or like watching maybe American TV shows than actually talking to somebody, because I guess from TVs, like you get to learn more phrases, like English phrases.
Yeah.
All those like spoken English, sometimes it can be too casual or it can be too easy.
Yes.
Right. So I prefer learning English sentences from movies or TVs.
Yeah. Yeah, because like if you have a movie, then you also have the option to first like you can watch it first completely in English.
Yeah.
And then the second time you put on like the really nice drafted subtitles. And like, even if the first time you didn't catch anything or just like a little bit, the second time, if you can read it, like, I don't mean like putting the Japanese subtitles, but watching it in English and putting the English subtitles.
Right. I did that a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, they talk about different things. Like if you just stick to a rom-com, maybe not bad. If you watch, like I love like a forensic science detective series. What was that? Like NCIS or CIS, like all those like murders and things. Like you could learn some scientific words. You can have a big jargon of different topics. But when you're just talking to your non-Japanese friend, it's mostly about like what you did last weekend, or like what are your hobbies, like all those narrow topics, you know. You're not going to go deeper than that unless like you're a really good friend with them. But I realize like most of them, especially student in college, student at high school, they want to focus on love and relationships. Like, you know, you can learn from Gossip Girl maybe. So you
guys, you can watch it on Netflix.
Yeah, you can like have a big set of languages, like big set of words from Netflix more. I don't really think like if, you know, people talk about anything profound when they're just casually conversing. It's more like, oh, I have a fight with my boyfriend, or I had a crush on this boy. I never noticed any like good words from casual conversations. All those words like you are like basic terms.
So like studying English with movies is really good, and as you said, like finding something you're interested.
And then if you want to go to the next level, you should just read more or watch more than having a conversation.
You became interested because of wrestling. So if any of the listeners now want to watch like your movie, I will put the movie where you try wrestling. And thank you.
I actually don't recommend like people learning from wrestling because the language is kind of bad.
Okay.
Like, you know, you suck, or like, you know, get the fuck out of here. Like, you shouldn't use those language.
Yeah, but like it's interesting because like I was watching actually right before we're like talking, I was watching American wrestling, and they always make like a fighting scene in the beginning.
Right. Oh yeah,
but
that's
just
true.
for entertainment. Don't take it too serious.
Right. It's just an act.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you.
Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.